Hello and welcome to We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I will be your host for this evening as always. And joining me tonight is a lady by the name of Joan Graef. And me and Joan have been speaking back and forward for a little while. So good evening, Joan, or good afternoon, Joan, or hello, Joan. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, Richard. Thank you for inviting me.
That's fine. It's because we move in the same kind of circles. We both have a common frenemy in the shape of Bryan Wade.
That's right.
Bryan, who's currently asking you why you're not filling out a certain piece of information for your expanded universe episode that you're going to be appearing on.
Yeah, he's asking me some questions about that appearance I'm going to be having here shortly. But you know what? He's just going to have to wait.
He is just going to have to wait, so I'm just going to tell him that just now. You're just going to have to wade.
You got him.
There's a killer blow. He's not going to get up from that one. Sometimes, when we do the show, we just get people on for a chat because we have designers on, we have players on, we have gamers on, we have different types of people on. And sometimes I just like to kick back and have a chat and talk some cardboard that has nothing to do with anything else but having a good chat. Which is why Joan has said yes to coming on, and she's probably going to be regretting that within about the next 45 minutes to an hour. But we'll see.
That sounds like a challenge, Richard.
We shall see. For people that haven't listened to the show before, thank you for coming on. Welcome. Have a chair. There's drinks and biscuits out in the foyer. Make yourself at home. The reason that we do this is because we are still running the same joke that we think that there are not enough podcasts out there about board games, and the other reason that we do this is because I like chatting to people and I'm generally nosy. So
a good enough reason for me.
It's been a good enough reason for 86 or 87 other episodes. So why spoil? I know.
You're getting up there.
I'm an octogenarian. Yeah. Me and Colin were talking about this the other day and saying, how did it get to this kind of number of episodes? And it's like, well, because I keep kind of having a conversation and then just going, just come on the podcast. And people keep saying yes. But
do you have any special plans for episode 100? Secret?
No. I was thinking, no, I don't know. I think we might have, I've no idea. Do you know what? It's one of these things you don't even plan. Because it's like I was saying, well, we'll do something special for episode 50. And we had a guest on it and it was special. So that was special enough for us. And then it was like, well, 75 is a good one. So we'll do something for that. And then we did have a guest on and it wasn't anything we didn't announce it. So for episode 100, I don't know, I'm willing to take on ideas. You know, we'll just see. We'll see what happens. But we're not here to talk about me.
We're not here to talk about podcasting. We're here to talk about cardboard.
We are here to talk about. I'm glad you're kind of keeping me on the straight and narrow. Thank you. But we want to hear about your history.
Yeah. So you just want to hear about where I started with them board games?
Yeah, I want to delve into the past. I want to have a little peekaboo at the present, and then we can even take a view to the future and see what is kind of there. So if you want to tell us a little bit about your history.
So I've been playing games for about as long as I've been capable of it. I played with my father's brick of an original Game Boy as soon as my little hands were capable of holding it.
Okay.
I played games like Kirby's Dream Land, and that's not quite the sort of game we're talking about, but I'm just trying to say way back I've been playing games.
So when did you take your first steps into the cardboard realm then?
So my family's always been really into games as well. My dad had a Game Boy around, so we had kind of the stock standard Monopoly, Clue, all that sort of stuff, Chutes and Ladders and the Game of Life around when I was real little. And whenever I'd go to visit my grandparents, both of the sets of my grandparents had a lot of really old games. So we had this weird ninny chess game called Smess, and we had the Mad Magazine game where it's like Monopoly but you're trying to lose all your money. So we had a pretty good smattering of just odds and ends, even when I was 4, 5, 6 years old. And as me and my sister grew up, we started accruing our own games. And so my mom got a nice retro mix of stuff like Battling Tops to some of Games Right's early stuff. So we had Mummy Rummy and this Way of the Samurai game. And that's, in my late childhood, early adolescence. So even from a pretty young age, we were playing stuff that was a little bit beyond, the most standard sort of, that's drudgerous sort of board game.
Yeah.
But I didn't really think of board games as more than just a little way to have some fun with family, which it still is to this day, friends and family. It's a great way to pass time. I'm sure that we both agree. But in high school, I went over to a friend's house and he was like, okay, Joan, we and all of our friends are going to play a great big game of Arkham Horror.
Oh, okay. That's a heavy game to kind of get into.
So at that point, everyone besides me had played at least several rounds of it, so there wasn't a lot of confusion in the rules, and there was just kind of a lot of, okay, this is what happens next, and some recommendations for what I should be doing, because I didn't really know what was up, because I've never played something with quite that many moving parts.
Yeah.
But I got into it. And shortly thereafter, I got some of the other games like Catan or Munchkin that are kind of, sort of...
They're becoming like the Monopoly of board games.
Yeah. And sort of working as an introduction into the broader world.
Mm-hmm.
And as I played things, I enjoyed them, and I started, following... Well, really, my friend had a lot of these games, and I was, playing them at his place, and then I started following around. I think one of the big ones for me has been Shut Up and Sit Down.
Yeah.
So as I've watched their stuff and read their stuff, I started just putting all sorts of games on Amazon wish lists, and just every Christmas or birthday someone goes and buys me another couple boxes. And as I've become an adult and started working and acquiring my own stuff, I've just been getting whatever strikes my fancy. And around the time you asked what kind of games I have, a couple months ago I sent you a picture of
Yes, you did.
Of our linen closet that is just completely chock full of them, and those are not all mine. Some of those are about half of them are my roommates, but between the two of us, we've got, do you want to put an estimate as to how many games that is? Maybe 60-ish board games?
That's a decent, that's a respectable number. That's a respectable amount of cardboard. You've not gone totally kind of deforestation.
No,
but at the same time,
not quite that bad.
No. So you kind of, you're kind of, when you say, I'm looking at them now, I think I think when you sent me the picture, the first thing I went was, wow, there's some good, you've got Fury of Dracula here, and there's things like Space Cadets.
Yes.
Manson's. You got like Galaxy Trucker.
Yes. That was one that was really highly recommended by Shut Up and Sit Down. You'll probably notice that if anyone's like cross-referencing what I have versus their recommendations, that there's probably a pretty healthy amount of overlap.
Power Grid's there.
But I've been playing games, like I said, starting with my family, and as I've gotten more complicated things, I've been trying to get my family to play some of these more complicated games. Mm-hmm. So like, a good example is once at a family reunion a few years back, I brought that copy of Space Cadets. And I didn't really expect everyone in my family to like be able to really wrap their head around every single station, but that's not really what I was trying to go for. I was trying to I distribute out the stations, so the guy that plays a lot of poker gets the shields, and the 10-year-old that was playing with us gets the weapons, because I figured he'd probably be the best at flicking, and the guy who played a lot of other board games got helmsman, because that's kind of the most sort of decision-making, high pressure, I would say, of the stations. I just kind of tried to teach everyone their aspect of it. And I had enough people together that there was no doubling up in roles. I was just being the captain and directing, and I was not participating in any other way. That's
pretty cool. For people that haven't maybe played Space Cadets...
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologise. Mm-hmm. You'll have to apologise if you throw something at me, or if you tell people the secret about getting off the shelf.
Ooh.
That's controversial.
People give me enough likes and retweets on Twitter, they'll get that secret.
That's what we could do. And this is going to be driving people crazy, because we're not going to say anything, Joan. And
I promise.
That's fine. Space Cadets. Yeah, give us a quick rundown of Space Cadets, because one of the things we like to do is, we like people, if they've not heard the games before, to kind of get a brief rundown, because they might not have heard how they play, even though it's a very popular game.
And it's a very interesting and different game, so it's definitely worth talking about. So Space Cadets is basically like if you're running the Enterprise from Star Trek, and you get sent on a mission to do something, pick up some things, blow up some enemy ships, what have you, and everyone has these little roles. Like there's the weapons officer, the helmsman, shields, engineer, sensors, so on. And these roles pretty much all go at the same time, with a couple exceptions where someone flips a sand timer and then everyone tries to do their little role to make your ship work. Yeah. So the weapons officer, for instance, is taking these little, I want to call them tetraminos, but I'm not sure if that's really accurate, but little puzzle pieces, and trying to fit them into a pattern onto these cards that they draw to load the torpedoes. And then later, when we're trying to establish firing, they'll take a little wooden disc and flick it on this chart to see if they hit or not. And now all these rules kind of articulate with a different rule set. None of them are the same. And so you have this really goofy thing going on where the captain says, okay, we need 4 power to engines and 2 power to shields and 3 powers to weapons, and we need the weapons officer to shoot that, and we need the sensors officer to scan that. And then when the sand timer flips, everyone tries to accomplish that to varying levels of success, and then you all get to watch as everything falls apart because, oops, that tetramino is not the right tetramino, and oops, all the power went to tractor beams, and
it's kind of like a series of mini games that everybody has to you get your own station, and you kind of have to do the little mini games in order to succeed. I don't know. One of those words is right.
Succeed.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. But it's manic, from what I've heard.
And way back at the beginning of the story, when I was talking about how I had my family and I sat everyone down and I delegated out roles, and that's the only game we've won. Like I've ever won. Like all my games with like serious gamer friends who are all like, oh, we're into board games, or we crush Pandemic Legacy, and so on and so forth. We've never won. But when I got my family and I gave the weapons flick into the little 10-year-old, it came together. And so my dad's been trying to get me to get my friends together so he can sit down and play another round of Space Cadets.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to go? Is he going to be is he going to be captain though, or are you going to be captain?
Oh, I think captain pretty much every time. Maybe I should let someone else have a go.
Yeah, but what would you do instead though? I mean, what kind of role would you do instead on the bridge?
I think engineering would work all right. I mean, I flunked out of school for that, but I think I'd do all right in a board game.
We just have to see. It's always funny to see board gamers kind of really, the serious guys kind of go, no, this is how you do it, and then somebody that's never played the game before going, oh, I just did that instead, and it kind of worked.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of rage and stuff like that.
It's great.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun. Is there anything that you've said you've got an Amazon wish list? I've got an Amazon wish list as well, but it's ridiculous. It's like the GDP of a small country.
Oh, at least you have a lot of room for people to give, right?
That's what. Yeah, exactly. Just if you want to make us happy, go and send us something nice. No, I wouldn't do that. I don't know. I'd feel kind of weird if you kind of went, oh, here's my Amazon wish list, and then somebody sent you something, because you'd be like going, okay. But we'd have to see. I saw in your collection, moving away from trying to drop subtle hints about people sending me free stuff, you got Twilight Imperium there as well.
Oh, yes. Twilight Imperium is one that me and my current roommate, when we were in college, we actually went to the local game store and we split it 50-50.
And have you played it?
I've played it, I would say 4 times.
You managed that many times with Twilight Imperium, and how long did it take to set up? How many?
The setup isn't as bad as the playtime. The setup is maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's the playtime that's like 5 hours.
I don't know. There's board gaming, and then there's like, that's board gaming with a capital B.
We don't have a big enough table for that anymore.
No?
No.
And then people say play it on the floor, and then it's like, you get a sore back if you're sitting around for like 5 hours. You get a sore back. Yeah. We
did that at the board game club in college once, and I'm not as young as I was then. Not that I'm that much older, but I don't want to do it on the floor ever again.
No. I think I played Rex on the floor once, and that was like, there's lots of components and cards and everything kind of flying about in that. It's almost like it reminds me an awful lot like Star Wars Rebellion, with the kind of the single planets that you kind of travel between and stuff, and we played that on the floor. It was almost like a 2.5, 3 hour kind of game, and it was just like, see, at the end, I kind of did that old man getting up from some place that he's been sitting around for a while kind of thing, because I kind of sat up and did that involuntary kind of, oh my goodness, and didn't even notice I was kind of doing it, and everybody else looked at me and went, you're quite old if you're kind of... Everybody else is like jumping up, almost like they're in a martial arts kind of film, like, whew, I'm ready to get some juice kind of thing. And I kind of like groaned and kind of got up and then said I was never ever going to play that game again, but that was possibly because we kind of lost. But no, going back to what I was saying before I tangented again, is there any games that you kind of got your eye on at the moment that you'd like to add into the linen closet? It's such a cool place to have games.
That is a rough one. I've been trying to focus more on playing the games that I already have and haven't given enough attention to, rather than acquiring new ones, but you know how that is.
Joan, you're a board gamer. You know the rules.
Yeah, I do, and I've been trying to close my eyes so that way I don't have to follow the rules. But
the rules are if you have 35% of your collection, you're allowed to have played more than once, and the rest of it, there's 35% that you will probably never play and have possibly not even kind of punched it or unboxed it. And then there's the bit in the middle which you have taken out, you've set up, you've looked at Let's Play videos, and then you've put it back in the box again because it's just not going to happen. But you're probably not. Have you played pretty much everything that's there? Are they all kind of well used or?
I have participated in at least one game of everything that is in that closet. Yes.
Really?
Not all of them I would say are well used, but over the quite many years that I have been friends with Joey, we have probably played Arkham Horror maybe 20, 25 times. So some of those are really well used.
That's pretty decent. What's your favourite game out of the collection that you've got there?
Oh, that's a very hard question, Richard.
Well, come on, this wasn't going to be, this was, when I said this was going to be a nice friendly chat, I lied.
You got me.
Yeah, I know.
Probably
top 3.
One of the games that brings me the most joy to get off the shelf, even if it's not the most mechanically robust, would be Bang.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one that I've played with my family a lot. It's one that we played in our college flat a lot, where it's just like, hey, we have 4 people here. Does anyone want to play 20 minutes of Bang? And then we would just play like 3 rounds of Bang really fast because we all knew the rules so inside and out that we could just like shoot through rounds like it was nothing. And so I have a good amount of fond memories playing that in a couple of different situations, and I'm always happy to play another round.
Anything else out of there? What would be the second one?
Oh, no, I figured out the real answer. This is the real
here we go,
answer.
here we go.
Are you ready?
So, okay, I'm ready.
Pandemic
Legacy.
Legacy.
No, really?
Sorry.
That's okay.
I got too excited. I remembered Pandemic Legacy, and I was like, oh gosh, that game.
How could you even forget it in the first place if you have it there?
Oh, yeah, I know. It's because I've beaten it, and we finished it, so it's kind of been shuffled out of the, this is a thing I need to do. And now it's in the, firmly in the, these are good memories, but not anything that's going to happen in the future.
But have you not, because is it not a case you can play the game, you can play Pandemic on it anyway, or have you, does playing Pandemic Legacy, does it take away the flavour of wanting to play normal Pandemic?
I could not see myself having any interest in playing regular Pandemic ever again. Not that I think the game is bad, just that I feel like I've experienced everything Pandemic could offer and so much more, and going back to that regular sort of thing would just feel so hollow after what we've been through.
That's strong words.
I would still really recommend it whenever I talk to my extended family and they're looking to get them and or their kids into some more interesting board games. Pandemic is one that I recommend quite heartily. I think it's a very good game. I like it a lot, but Pandemic Legacy ruined it for me.
That's like a headline on a magazine that you see at the supermarket. Just a cup. Celebrity in tears. Pandemic Legacy ruined Pandemic for me. Finish. So that's it. That's the victim of the victim of his success. Because you wonder what's going to happen with season 2. Because apparently season 2 is going to be completely different and centered around not the world, but building up, the society again after the events of what's happened in season 1. And as I keep saying this, but the best thing about Pandemic Legacy is the fact that people are still refusing to tell everybody what actually happens in it.
I would never do that.
Which is phenomenal. I mean, okay, look at this, right? Mm-hmm. Star Wars, just to bring in, Bryan Wade, right? People, if you went around, if you talked about The Force Awakens, right, and you went ahead and you said, oh, well, that character kind of, popped his clogs, went and seen the choir invisible, fell off a balcony, all that business. And if somebody went, oh, spoilers, man, it's like, well, the game's been out, the film's been out for 2 years now, so you can't, you can't say you're spoiling it. But people are still very, very protective about Legacy, and it's a case of, well, you have to sample this because it's a wonderful thing.
And I think maybe part of why people are so hesitant to spoil Pandemic Legacy is the fact that, board games that could even feasibly be spoiled are so rare and uncommon.
Yeah.
The example you gave with a movie, there's lots and lots of movies, and while I wouldn't say that all of them have something that could truly be spoiled in, enough of them do, so that it kind of becomes less of a thing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's kind of like, it's because it's the fast-moving kind of... do you know what the other thing is as well? Is I guess that you consume movies in 2 phases, or sometimes 3 phases now. Because you'll consume movies, you'll get people that go to the movie theatre and see it. Then you'll get people that will watch it through kind of like a streaming service. They'll buy it through PlayStation Plus or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there'll be the third version where they see it in a physical edition with the special features or the steelbook or something like that, and they'll kind of buy it that way. And whereas the board game, you kind of, that's it. you kind of get it, and there's not going to be special. There might be a special edition, but you have to buy another experience, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like I've got Viticulture sitting on my chest of drawers, which the mic is sitting on top of, and it's the Essential Edition. Now, the Viticulture Essential Edition is Viticulture, but it's got rules and mechanics from the Tuscany expansion, and it's also got some of the stuff from the Viticulture Second Edition. But so basically, it's a completely different kind of experience. So kind of there you go. But we'll see what happens with Pandemic. I take it Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is just like a given. That's going to be arriving. You're going to be chucking other things out the closet, the linen closet, just to having it fitting into giving its own little space. Yeah,
that's right.
Fantastic. That's good. Speaking of Star Wars,
yes,
because we jumped. I don't know why we jumped into. I jumped into Star Wars because Bryan Wade.
Yeah, that's right. You needed to make sure you brought up your favorite wizard.
Yeah. Sorry, I just can't. No, still getting over him. You have been playing Star Wars RPG or RPG.
Yeah.
Am I correct? And what's that? Is that Edge of Darkness, or is that
Edge of the Empire? Is
right.
The first one.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I say the first one, just for anyone that doesn't know, Fantasy Flight has been putting out a series of Star Wars role-playing games, and they're all fundamentally the same system, but they're trying to build them as 3 different ones. Edge of the Empire, which is kind of focused on, smugglers and bounty hunters and, just various people outside of it. Age of Rebellion, which is, focused on the rebels and, kind of, more stuff that you would expect to see happening in the primary movies. And then, excuse me, I don't remember the last one. Something about the Force.
All right.
And that one's where it actually introduces all the rules for Jedi and Sith, and you have that sort of thing going on. And so we've been playing the first one that came out, which is, again, Edge of the Empire, which is all about a band of misfits getting into trouble, and we're having a good time.
So, is it kind of like a normal kind of character-driven experience? Because is it the DM? No, you're not the DM.
I was going to say, I think, not Fantasy Flight. Wizards of the Coast has a copyright on DM for anything that's not for Dungeons and Dragons. So
right.
This system says GM, like G is in game, which seems to be pretty standard for anything that's not D&D.
Who would have thought that? But then, Wizards of the Coast also copyrighted tapping as well for Magic the Gathering.
Oh, it all comes together.
Oh, they're just the worst. Do you know? What kind of company would copyright and stop other people using a phrase that means turn your car to the side? What is wrong with you? tapping. And then they've also said you can't use the word DM. Well, guess what? It's direct message as well, so you know.
Yep, you're right.
I could say I was just over there DMing my group about the game we were going to be playing. Okay. But anyway, that's just my own anarchy kind of kicking on, and this coffee's kicking in as well, and it's quite nice. Anyway, I'm hijacking my own show against my guest. What have you? I mean, how long does it take you to build up the scenario? I mean, are you using a pre-created scenario? Have you sat down and kind of went through kind of like general guidelines kind of thing?
So there is a pre-created scenario in the back of the book, and I know that they sell some pre-created scenarios, but I wasn't wanting anything to be too mechanically dense. That's part of why I was trying to get away from Dungeons and Dragons for this campaign. Mm-hmm. So I'm not using anything that is pre-made. I had kind of an idea mostly for an antagonist that I thought was going to be interesting for a Star Wars campaign, and then sort of put some loose skeleton of events that I was interested in having. And I kind of put the players down. They told me who they were. I kind of told them where they were, why they were there, and gave them a job, and then just kind of kicked them out the door. And then they, just kind of wandered from the cantina around and slowly started meandering through a puzzle that I set with no particular route in mind through it, because I wanted them to, do their own thing. And so I don't have that much written out, because I prefer to be a little bit more flexible, because I don't want anyone to feel, like their ideas and their role playing and whatever cleverness that they can come up with is being stifled.
Yeah. But I mean, so you're quite quick. You have to be very quick thinking for that then.
Either quick thinking or very willing to be like, excuse me guys, give me a second while I think about this.
All right, okay.
So it's a little mix of both.
Yeah. Okay. I play D&D, is it 5th edition? I don't know. It's the mine thing, the mine one starts with a PH. And it's good fun. But then I obviously have a tendency, I've decided my character takes everybody really literally when they say something. Do you know what I mean? So we were going up to like a castle, and the comment kind of went along the lines of, I'm playing an orc, but I'm not the stupid orc, I'm just quite simple. So if somebody says go and break down the door in a sarcastic tone, that's what I'm going to go and do, because I think I'm doing the right thing. So that's kind of happened. I mean, do you have to take in? Do you change where the story? Where the story is generally going, but do you have to look at changing facets of the story based on the kind of the characters that are coming out during the game itself?
So, when I said that I didn't do a lot of planning part of that, especially in the beginning, where I was just like, okay, I have, y'all need to go into this factory and figure out a mystery inside the factory, but I don't really have, like, are you guys going to pretend to be Imperials? Are you guys going to, pretend to be workers? Are you just going to sneak in? I didn't really have any of that sort of stuff in mind. I had some, like, blocks around for them to mess with, but part of why I left it so open, especially in the beginning, was so that these characters could kind of come out and try to manifest a little bit. And as people have been coming together, I've been just creating a little bit more stuff, or trying to create a little bit more stuff that speaks a little bit closer to the particular character's motivations. For instance, I have one player who's playing a smuggler who owes money to the Hutts. And so, of course, in Chapter 2, we're going to go and deal with a Hutt that he owes money to.
Cool.
And the entire time he's freaking out and like, oh my gosh, why am I here? I shouldn't be in this sector of the galaxy. What's happening? Why did the rest of you dragging me here? And just kicking and screaming. And I'm okay with that.
Do you ever kind of like have quick asides with some people to say, okay, this is what you should be thinking, or do you let them have their own reasons for doing things and kind of motivations and stuff like that?
So in the very beginning, when after we'd had our session 0, where everyone was kind of setting out the basics of their character, both mechanics and role-playing with one another. I did try to go to every single player and have a little bit of, okay, here's maybe some stuff that didn't get disclosed in that last section that might be kind of interesting or cool, and if you are willing to play along with this, it will probably pay off in the long term. And if you're not okay with that, that's perfectly fine, and I will, figure it out. But maybe the droid being a Confederate of Independent Systems remnant who is interested in trying to bring down the Empire that isn't because that's the current permutation of the Republic, that might be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
cool.
Admittedly, that's an example where my friend came up with that, and I'm like, oh, easy, I can totally work that in. And we kind of talked a little bit about some stuff, but I didn't have to push him too far. There's some other people that we did a little bit of on behind the scenes, like, okay, here's an interesting angle. But since we've started playing, I've kind of been trying to let people do what they feel is right.
And how many people have you got involved in the campaign just now?
There are 4 players, and then myself.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Because it's a good balance as well. I've seen groups, like big groups.
Yeah.
And I've seen them work really, really well. But I've seen it work really, really well if people have been playing for a while. I think if you're playing with too big a group, you've sometimes got the quarterbacking issue.
Yeah.
Where somebody might just turn around and say, well, we're going to go, you going this way because that's what my character wants us to do, kind of thing. I mean, is it going to be lasting long? The
I was intending for this to be kind of short, where I had 3 acts in mind, and I was kind of hoping that each act would take maybe 3 or 4 sessions, but as it's standing, each one is taking more like 7 or 8. So we're about halfway through the second act, so I'm hoping that we'll be done by the end of the year. And then at that point, we'll figure out what's next.
And would you go back to another system, or are you quite happy kind of sticking with Edge of the Empire just now?
I think that Edge of the Empire is really interesting. I've enjoyed playing with it, but I think it's really fiddly in a way that Fantasy Flight can be a lot of times, where there's too many skills for too many things that are too close to one another, and the way that the dice end up working tends to be a way that doesn't feel quite as normalized as the way that a D20 plus a modifier can feel.
Yeah.
So I'm not unhappy with it, and definitely if someone's looking for something that's really steeped in Star Wars, it's pretty neat. And the custom dice are kind of a blast to try to interpret. And it is a little bit more flexible in the storytelling, I would say, but it's still a little bit more fiddly than I was looking for just a storytelling system, but not quite fiddly enough to have any sort of satisfaction in building a character like you can in some of the crunchier D&Ds. So I think it kind of hits a kind of unhappy middle ground, if I'm being honest.
Oh, that's a shame. Do people really get into the character? Do you have people that kind of put on voices and stuff, or?
Oh yes, the guy that's playing the droid totally does the weird stilted droid delivery in every line that he's saying, where he kind of has that mechanical, hello, I am TX-118. It is a pleasure to meet you. And that's just all of his deliveries, and it's great.
Do you do any yourself then? Do you tend to kind of sit there, or do you just kind of just deliver the lines as normal? Because we were... yeah.
Finish your thought.
No, it's just that we had... I had Callan from the Playful Gnome, and he says he played a character called Keegan, who was a gnome. And I said, well, do you do a voice? And he says, yeah, Keegan just speaks with my voice, kind of thing. So I guess it's... he's from a kind of the southeast coast of England. So he talks he's well spoken. So it's trying to imagine some kind of roguish mage gnome kind of thing, of going around kicking ass and then going, oh, terribly sorry, chap. Didn't mean to blast you into oblivion there, kind of thing.
I mean, that sounds really entertaining. Yes, I try to do voices, especially for things that feel very appropriate. Like recently, the party has been playing with a Jawa, and so I, pitch up my voice and talk real fast, and like, hey, what's up? I'm Harriet, the Jawa, and hey, you guys want to get out of here? Maybe you go to the bar, go get a drink. Like, hey, what's up? Something that feels about right for a Jawa to me.
Could you do Bryan Wade?
No. I don't do impressions, just character voices.
No, there you go. I don't think anybody could even do an impression of Bryan Wade either. He's getting a lot. He's messaging me at the moment. Because this is the whole thing. He's still wanting you to finish your notes off because of his road trip. He's gonna kick my ass when he sees me because I've just said, "No, Brian. No, you're okay. No." He's just so gonna be so annoyed. He's writing to me in capital letters.
Richard, give Joan back. She's
that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. He's saying that I need to get this ready for my. I need to get stuff ready, and you're kind of impinging on my ability to get on with my organisation. It's like, yeah, I know, but now, I mean, obviously, no, we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be the nasty person,
Yeah, you gotta be sweet and positive, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You don't want to be the type of guy that would maybe say, I don't know, register a domain name wearedefinitelywizards.com so it ends up going to your website. I mean, who would do that?
I don't know. Maybe like someone like Jeremy Greer?
Maybe somebody like Jeremy Greer. Yeah, he did that. I don't know. I don't know. You don't know who's the master and who's the minion in that kind of relationship if they're feeding off each other. But speaking of minions...
Oh, segue.
Yeah, you got it. There you go. Me and Colin spoke about Mechs and Minions oh my goodness, it's like, I was checking, is it that long ago? And it's like, it's about 8 or 9 episodes ago, or the other week, as it's also known as. But you've been playing Mechs and Minions. I am planning on playing lots more of it tomorrow. But how far are you in the campaign for Mechs and Minions?
Honestly, we have not played as much as I would like. We are 2 missions in. That said, I am still having a total blast.
Have you been going back and playing the missions over again just to see the different results, or what have you? Have you just been playing kind of like a couple of games at a time?
We have just been playing the games each round until we win once, and then we've been moving on. So I guess I've technically played more than twice, but
yeah. Okay. No, I played. Me and Colin played a couple of rounds, and then me and my son played the same rounds again, and ended up getting completely kind of different results, and that automatically made me think, I got to play this kind of more and more and more and more. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see. Is it your copy of Mechs and Minions?
Yes, I purchased it when I saw that second wave, or however they were calling it, was available, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to snap that right up," because I've been hearing lots of good stuff.
It's quite a good box, because its size of the box means that if you're looking to do any kind of cardio or fitness, you can use that box in order to kind of stretch and tone at the same time, because this thing it's huge. It's kind of like the size of Twilight Imperium.
Oh yes, and it's heavier.
I know, it's just absolutely massive in terms of the stuff that you kind of get from it. But do you know what's unusual about it is that it's kind of like it's a video game company that's put it together. Yeah. And interestingly enough, a lot of the other video game kind of adaptations that I've kind of seen, they've been okay, but the presentation side of this is just absolutely kind of phenomenal. Have you got kind of like a favorite character? Do you play as a particular character?
Oh yes, I've been playing Ziggs because man, bombs, more bombs.
I'm playing as who did I play? I'm playing as the I don't know the lady. I don't know her name. Yes, because of the purple hair.
Yeah. I played a bunch of League of Legends in college, and what I found from League of Legends is this game makes me mad, and it makes me mad at my friends, and that isn't okay, and so I stopped.
Yeah. See,
yes.
I went to a gaming convention with my son quite recently, and the League of Legends kind of demonstrators were there, and they were saying, they actually had all the machines set up, and they were like doing kind of trial runs and kind of practice runs and things like that, and it was almost like, come on in, come with me, and let me show you into a brighter world of 14-hour days in front of a PC, because it's one of these. I know it's one of these games. It's like an e-sport, and people can play they play it for like kind of hours and hours and days on end kind of thing. But you just seem to do the same thing in the game, that you just are going up and fighting somebody and taking over their area, and that's kind of it. And I'm probably very wrong about this, and there's going to be League of Legends fans that are going to come round to my house and start throwing their copies of Mechs and Minions at me in order to try and hurt me. But I'm kind of right there, aren't I? I mean, that's the kind of the basics, isn't it?
I played enough of it to have a more nuanced take on it than what you just delivered. But what I can say firmly is that the game is not for me. Maybe 150 hours of play in, it took me to realize that, but I don't really want to speculate on the state of the game these days because I don't really follow it too much. No.
I mean, but what made you then decide to pick up Mechs and Minions? I mean, kind of what kind of a first...
I ignored it out of the gate because it was League of Legends themed and from Riot, and while I think Riot is a really great company and in a lot of ways they're doing some really incredible stuff, I wasn't really expecting their first foray into board games to be that interesting, especially because I'm trying not to buy too many games, but I heard enough like really, really, really effusive praise for the game that my interest was piqued, and I can say that I feel very wrong in mistrusting Riot initially in this regard because they have made such an amazing value proposition here.
Well, I think they reached out to Quinn's from Shut Up and Sit Down, and they asked him to do some consultancy on the game, because I remember the game review that they did. And they said, oh, listen, we need to caveat this by saying that, Quinn's did come in, and I don't think, it wasn't just them. I think he asked quite a few. I mean, Riot Games reached out to a few kind of critics and reviewers and guys that had a lot of experience in the industry, and just basically said to them, hey, do you want to come and help us kind of forge this game? And hats off to them. They obviously have a budget, and that budget is like, it's really weird because I don't think I mentioned this on the episode that I had with Colin, but it's still one of these things that when you open up the box, you're kind of going, wow. And you can turn the box on its side, you can turn it pretty much upside down, you can put it kind of any way you want, and it still kind of like holds everything together, so it's kind of, I don't know. I'm going to be playing it lots over the next couple of weeks with my son, because we decided we're going to sit down and we're consciously going to kind of play through as many of the campaign missions as we kind of can,
Yes. And so. I know that this is maybe a bit of a very dorky thing to fixate on, and I don't mean to make this a backhanded compliment to the game, because I think the game, from what I've played of it, is really good, and I'm really looking forward to playing more. But I think one of my absolute favorite aspects of this is that ridiculous Inlay. Richard, the Inlay. It's so completely incredible. Oh, that inlay.
It's going to be on your... Is it your top one in top 5 in all inlays of all time?
Oh, it's my number 1 top inlay. And I have a couple of inlays that are pretty decent, like real good inlays, but that's the one, Richard.
It's the fact that you open the box and not everything is accessible to you. As in, you open it up and there's another box there.
Yeah. And you just keep
it's like
pulling out tray after tray after tray of goodness.
And it all fits in. And all the little minions, you can put the minions back any way you want, and they all fit in. They've taken into account all the different designs of minions. They all fit in. And the little egg timer, and the little bomb, and the individual envelopes, and the little, just the notes, just everything like that. It's just, we still like it. We're going to play it lots more. Stop it, because you're thinking about that inlay again. You've got to... You'd be going out, you'd be like, okay, once you finish the show, you'll be like running over, opening the box, and just giving it a big hug, just looking at it.
Pulling out the trays, giving them big hugs.
Taking selfies with it. Putting it on Instagram.
Sorry, Brian, I can't get back to you and answer your Star Wars questions. I gotta take these selfies with a board game.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you know what I mean? It's just that this could be us, but you playing. I mean, there's a couple of... I mean, I constantly speak about other kind of games kind of coming on. I mean, if budget was no object... And if games, you can have any game you want, and it was the zombie apocalypse, and you had 3 games, you were stuck in a board game shop, and they were like the Doctor Who TARDIS, infinite amount of space and time, and you could have any board games you wanted at all, from any time and place. What 3 board games would you take with you to help you survive in the zombie apocalypse? Yes, I know, it's a silly question, but, you know.
I have a really important question here to help inform this, because I think this changes things dramatically.
Okay.
Richard, how many people am I with?
You're always constantly going to be meeting a lot of people, so the number of players that you require doesn't matter, because you're going to move from colony to colony with your trolley. You have a trolley, so the size of the board game doesn't matter either.
You're making this very, very difficult for me.
Go on. Take your time. Any 3.
Can I have all the expansions for the game?
If they're there, yeah. A game will count as a game plus all the expansions.
Okay, so I think I'm going to start with Imperial Assault. And maybe that's naive because I haven't played enough of it, but I've been really enjoying it. And there's a lot of content. I think that, especially with a bunch of different players and a bunch of different people running the game, that it's got some legs there.
Yeah, I've that's on my pile of shame. I've got it, and it's still sitting there, and I haven't opened it because I played Descent an awful lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm worried if it's kind of went, oh, it's going to be the same as Descent and setting it up, so I will do it one day. Anyway, second game.
I think my second game is going to be Archipelago.
Oh, okay.
Something a little bit more number crunchy. I would hope that one would hold up pretty well, but something that I would need a really particular set of people to really get into, I think, because I have had a hard time getting too many people to the table for that too many times, but really liked what I played of it. And I think my last choice has to be Cosmic Encounter, because that is maybe the game I've played the very most, and is one of the games that I feel like I could play infinite more times. And every single time that they put out expansions, we're like, we need to go through all of these, and we never get through half of them. And we love Cosmic very dearly.
How many? I mean, have you sunk hours and hours into that game?
Yes, absolutely. It's a very, very well-tested game. Battle hardened. The box is disintegrating. It's my friend's copy, and he's resorted to like duct taping around the box to keep it from falling apart. And it's like disintegrating the bottom out from it. So we really need to come up with a new box, or at least another layer of tape holding everything in. It's.
You need a storage solution. Somebody needs to come up with reconditioned boxes that you can just order, and you say, this is the size of the box that we need, this is the type of tray that we need, send it out to me, we can sort it out, you know? That would be kind of cool. I can't see anybody getting rid of a board game box.
Yeah, just the box. No.
Cool.
But at least it's a Fantasy Flight game, so it's got a trench, so you can just throw that part away.
I know, and they still insist on doing it. It's like new Fantasy Flight game. It's like, what? I mean, did they have shares in trenches or something like that? Is it part of the agreement with Star Wars?
Yeah,
Lucas, is it part of the agreement with Disney? Well, we're thinking of actually having a proper inlaid box, because obviously we've seen Mechs and Minions, and everybody loves that. So we're going to be putting that together, and we're going to have little card bits, we're going to have plastic trays on top, and then all you hear is the legal department shouting through, no, it's a trench, we need a trench. We signed the paperwork, tell Pam, get the paperwork, Pam, there's a trench there. And that's how that'll be.
And every one of those trenches ends up in a landfill for me.
You know what, I end up doing the most ridiculous thing, which I end up kind of like tucking I end up lifting it up and trying to do that thing where you tuck stuff underneath.
I know what you're talking about, but that's so sad.
And then there's the bit in the middle, and then you realise that they never make the trench, they never take into account the trench is big enough for the biggest size component. So it's not even like if you're playing, like, say, any game at all, you can put, like, oh, here's my big piece, and I'll just put that in the trench, and it doesn't fit. Oh, that's rubbish. I think it was Armada, trying to fit stuff into Armada. The box in Armada is pretty rubbish. I just can't
believe it.
And Descent as well, that's the worst thing ever, because that was the one that you can't get all the bits fitting in. They need to sort it out. We need a strongly worded letter to Fantasy Flight. We need to get them on the show. And we're just going to be calling the thing Trench ? And just have them on and just ask them to explain themselves. Pretty much.
I'd happily listen to that.
I don't think they would ever come on. They would just say, why are they continually abusing this guy called Bryan Wade? What's he ever done?
Hey, well, Richard, with that sort of attitude, it's not ever going to happen.
No.
You need to, like, really set your eye on the prize and, really push and make that happen. For me, I don't know if anyone else cares, but I want to listen to it.
I'm going to be positive from now on. It's going to definitely happen for me. I hope it will. Ah, dear. But on that note, I think where can people find you if people have listened tonight and they want to find you on the Twitters and the internet webs and all that place? Where can they find you? Where can they have you coming onto their podcast
and ruining everything?
No.
You can find me on Twitter at wrench_witch. If you, for some reason, want to email me, which nobody ever has, and I don't expect anyone ever will, but just in case Twitter is offensive to you, but you want to still reach out, you can email me at wrench_witch3@gmail.com. If you happen to be part of the Duckfeed community, I am on their Slack sometimes. I sometimes see you post on Tabletop, but don't post there enough myself. But I am Wrench Space Witch on that one. Generally speaking, if you look up Wrench Witch, you'll probably find me.
Why Wrench Witch?
Ooh, see, this question even relates back to Tabletop.
Okay.
I was playing in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and I was playing an artificer, and I was making a big deal about my spellcasting wand being a spanner, and instead of a mace, me having just this big old pipe wrench to smack people around with, and just like getting really, really into using hardware in place of casting implements, because I was trying to lean at that sort of flavor. And one of my fellow cohorts could not remember my character's name, but they also didn't want to break character, and so they said, "Hey, Wrench Witch," and I fell in love with it, and it is permanent.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. That's far. Well, that's okay, because that kind of leads us into the final bit, because there's obviously you've done that. I mean, obviously, as normal, if people want to see where we're going, then, or what we're doing, or where we've been, or other nonsense, just go to Google, search "We're Not Wizards," you will find us. I'm going to skip over that bit because everybody knows kind of where we are, and you'll find us on your Apple Podcasts and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and you can also email us as well on magic@we'renotwizards.com. Yes, I'm aware it's ironic. That is why I picked it. There is 2 things left to do, and obviously the most important question is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards.
That's right, we're not wizards. A witch maybe, but not a wizard.
Absolutely, there you go. That's it. You get to join the elite class of the other 84 people that said they weren't wizards, and then that other guy that said he was.
Which guy was that again?
I'm not going to say.
I've heard his name all cast.
Oh dear, this has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for inviting me. I've been having a blast.
No, I've really enjoyed chatting to you. As I say, it's always good fun. I'm nosy enough. I just like to hear people's experiences with the hobby.
Yeah.
And the second thing to do is to say goodbye. So it is a goodbye from the wonderful, the fantastic, the Mechs vs Minions pandemic legacy cosmic encounter loving lady that is Joan Graef. Say goodbye, Joan.
Ta-ta for now.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe. Roll 6s. Wholeheartedly apologise to Bryan for the amount of stick he's got this podcast. It's just one of these kind of timing things that happen. So now Joan is going to go off and she's going to write up the bits that she needs to keep him happy. But he is a sweetheart, he is a darling, and we do like him very, very much for everything he does. But until the next time, you lovely people, this is Richard saying goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, Bryan Wade. There we go. And then we have a bit of silence because let's, pray silence for Bryan's addiction to magic cards. I'm not going to spend the entire show, but you message him back and saying, listen, I'm doing something more important. I'm speaking to Richard just now, so you're just going to have to wait.
Okay, I got it. Here we go.
Ha 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 ha. I do love Bryan,
Yeah.
If I ran out of brothers and relatives that I truly loved, then he would be the next person that I'd want to spend time with. Not really. That's not true.
I mean, you keep inviting him back to your podcast, so...
I know.